Hello there, and welcome to episode 14 of my tutorial series for Rimworld. I'm Icon, and this episode is going to be covering the topic of luxury and how to keep your people happy in a longer time frame. So we're going to work today against break risk warnings like these, and I'm going to show you different methods that you can go for to resolve these problems easily. So first off, let's check out what's bothering McFly, and also Emmanuel is on a major break risk too, so that ain't good either. So what's McFly's biggest issue here? He's on alcohol withdrawal. So, well, any withdrawal and any drug withdrawal makes one person in your colony extremely vulnerable and susceptible to mental breakdowns. I guess McFly is a case where I can't do much. I just have to wait until his alcohol withdrawal is over. But with Emmanuel, the world is a little bit different. So he's on major break risk, as we can see here. The mood is below that pip here. And why is that so? First off, our friend Emmanuel is a pessimist, so he's always a little bit bad in terms of mood. Then the rebuffing, that's also something we can't really do, but here, unfulfilled recreation, unsightly environment, slept in the cold. So these things are all resolvable issues. So first off, if we check this out, this room is marked as awful quality. So we can just send somebody over here and prioritize cleaning the dirt in here. And let's see, there's one more here. And after cleaning out the dirt, the room here itself is only mediocre anymore. So when we check that out, well, we're still suffering from an awful bedroom, but that'll wear off. But that's only one thing we can do. Another thing that's always a super reliable and effective method is to create a recreation room for your people. So we're going to put up a new structure, and let's see what kind of stone do I have available here. So limestone. Yeah, let's work with limestone, I'd say. Or do I? Well, for the sake of simplicity, McFly went catatonic. For the sake of simplicity, we're going to use wood for this one. I just realized that McFly doesn't have his own bed yet. Oh my god. Well, we're going to put him on a sleeping spot in here for now. Catatonic people need to be fed and taken care of until they get back on their feet. Catatonic breakdowns are a mental breakdown that you just have to sit out. They knock out that person and they can't do anything until it's over. The duration of that is very variable, so you never know how long it'll take. But let's get back to that rec room. So usually I would build with stone in this scenario, but since I don't want to wait that long until it's done, we're going to work with wooden walls one more time. But in my personal gameplays, I never go with wood after I am capable of building with stones, but you know, you get the idea. So we're now going to put up that room. Very simple setup. And a recreational room should include following things. First off, we can reinstall the chess table in there, because this is just the kind of item you want to have in a recreational room. And also we can install a poker table and a billiards table. Keep in mind that the billiards table needs, or you see these white areas, needs that as a free space to make sure that people can play there. The poker table will need sitting opportunities, just like the chess table. So we're going to put up a couple of stools here. Now let's carve out that, chop out that one here. And let's keep going. The other thing that we're going to work with today and talk about with is also art. I have already covered the whole art topic, but if we install that sculpture now over here, let's see. Emmanuel's room right now is considered awful, mainly because of the dirt and because the room itself has a low beauty rating. How does that come together? we're toggling the beauty display here. And as you can see, the most heavy impact on the beauty here has the dirt. So dirt is overall one of the biggest mood killers when it comes down to room qualities. Without dirt, the room is dull. Oh, wait a sec, it ain't gone yet. There's still some dirt somewhere. Usually I use a mod which allows you to just clean a room thoroughly, but sadly I don't seem to find the dirt. But what I'm trying to say here is keep your rooms clean. It's very, very, very much worth it to have one person on cleaning duty if you can afford to have that pair of idle hands. Here, that's a point where I love to work with people that got a lot of incapabilities. People with tons of incapabilities can be very, very good cleaning drones. Of course, this doesn't help when they are incapable of doing dumb work, but you get the idea. So here we got our billiards table. Let's wait for the other things. There's one thing worth mentioning here, and that's the fact that for these construction issues, you will always need cloth. Cloth is being used in the billiards table and in the poker table. So overall, cloth is one of the most versatile textiles in the game. It's not only providing you clothing opportunities, it also provides you recreational opportunities, as you can see here. There's no substitute for that. You have to work with these. And here's another thing which is worth mentioning. There's also a couple of clothing pieces like the toque, which you can create out of different wools when you have them, but cloth is per se the most common material I use for toques. Toques are extremely good if you want to have a winter hat that's not letting you down, because these cowboy hats, they don't really protect you well. So now let's check this out. This room is now slightly dirty. Let's clean it up. And now the dirt is gone, and now the room is slightly impressive. Now, this comes from the beauty rating of these items here. As you can see, the bed has a beauty rating, this has a beauty rating, and the sculpture has a beauty rating of 100. This is nothing new, you know, I've already talked about these things, but the really important thing here is to mention that your people will grow happier and happier the more beauty rating they have around them. And that's not only in their bedroom the case. This is also the case in practically every single room or environment where your people are residing. When your people are eating somewhere or playing somewhere together, they will always be happier if the room is beautiful. So Emmanuel now went into a breakdown, so did Bubbles. Bubbles did that because she hated the fact that she's in a barracks. Well, we already know what we could have done against that. Getting a singular sleeping room for everybody is a very, very profound way of getting the job done. Tantrums, by the way, are, well, mental breakdowns that you just have to sit out, basically. So Emmanuel's back on track. The good thing here is the catharsis does get them somewhere, and we're being raided. So forgive me, friends, we're going to dev mode that. I'm not here to defeat raiders, so we're going to create, wait a sec, explosion bomb. This is one of the most fun ways of dealing with enemies. It's entirely cheating, but you know, I just didn't feel as if going for a fight now. We got other things on our mind. So Emmanuel's rampage, of course, has made this room extremely ugly, so we'll have to repair and all. Okay, it's slightly impressive again. So let's wait until the day's over. And when we check him out now, here, slightly impressive dining room. He'll have a bonus for eating in a slightly impressive room. He's also going to be very happy because of the luxuriant comfort here. So good beds, with a high comfort rating, or generally as high as this comfort rating is going to go, the happier your person in the colony will be. So luxury is really something you can use to avoid all these breakdowns that we're suffering from right now. So the next thing would be stop that barracks situation, for example. So we're going to create another room here, reinstall that there, and make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. Okay, let's wait a moment until Emmanuel is slept out. My prisoner went berserk. Well, stuff like that sadly just does happen. And all of the content of today's episode is mostly about preventing these things from happening, you know? It's never cool when stuff like that happens. That's why I like to prevent that in general. Alright, prisoners being tackled there. Alright, there we go. So we're just going to get rid of her here. So not going to do anything. I'm not in the mood for prisoners anymore. That part of the tutorial is done anyways. So now, extra resting room. So avoid barracks situation at all costs. Your people just don't like to be in barracks in general. The worse the quality of the barrack, the worse the impact, of course. If the luxury rating of that barrack is actually high enough, people will be not that unhappy, as a matter of fact. But overall, a single room for everybody is way more preferable. So now, oh, we're out of steel also. Let's carve out a little bit of steel. Recreational rooms are costly, but very, very much worth the trouble. Because overall, you won't be capable of doing much without the capability of gathering recreation like that. Basically, every of my colonies sooner or later has one of these rooms. Because now when you see... Let's check this out. Well, the rec room is sadly still awful. And we don't gain any mood bonuses out of that. Even worse, the people here are unhappy because it's dark inside here. So we'll change that up by flooring this place and making it lit again. So, well, of course, this doesn't happen on its own. Let's carve out a little bit of steel for that. So we can make that happen. Ambrosia sprout. Whenever that happens, I don't know if I covered it already in this series. Ambrosia bushes are really cool. They yield ambrosia, a mildly addicting substance, which makes your people quite happy. You can either sell it or consume it. To actually harvest it, you just drop down a harvesting zone like that below it. Let's remove that one. And now you disallow sowing. This makes it work like once it's done, they'll harvest it. But they won't do anything except for that. And that's just the best way of dealing with this, as far as I know. Okay, now the room is lit, and we're now adding in some flooring. And now that room won't be horrible anymore in any second. Well, now he wants to rest out. I ain't got no mods installed to force him to do so, so I'll just let him do so. Now, and one there. But you can also already see this room is no longer very awful. Oh, this one won't do cleaning. Oh my god. These people are complicated. I just want to clean up this room to show you how good it is. Alright, it's already dull. So as soon as a room is considered dull, people aren't bothered by being there anymore. Dull is basically the lowest quality of a room that's possible without bothering your people. Dull ain't bad. Dull is just dull, you know. All right. Oh, this is so annoying to find the dirt. I highly recommend you to use other mods for that. But yeah, now the room is mediocre. People still tend to look at it because it's ugly, but yeah, this is also a way of finding the dirt patches. But I can't clean the dirt here. Anywho, now, if we would install another sculpture in there, this would resolve the problem completely. Then we would have a positive beauty rating in that room, and then this room would be also decent or even impressive. What you want to achieve in the long run is at least slightly impressiveness or more in these rooms, because as long as that happens, your people will receive some sort of mood bonus for being in these rooms. So for example now, let's see, decent bedroom. Oh no, it starts with decent. Decent bedroom and decent dining room. This is because dining happened here as well. So this brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about when it comes down to luxury for your people. So we're going to do this like that. Here, yet another room. Please forgive me for all the timber I'm using. I don't want to use that much timber. Like I mentioned earlier, this is just for the sake of tutorial. Imagine it would be stone. Now, we're going to reinstall all these eating tables in this particular room, because there's one thing the game doesn't really tell you. Whenever people are very close to each other, when they're doing something, they do social interaction. Like basically whenever two colonists are sitting right next to each other while working, eating, or whatever, they do social interaction. This is good for two things. First off, it is a sort of entertainment, like social interaction is a recreational activity, and therefore makes your people happy. And another thing is also worth mentioning. This way, you can upgrade that room and make it beautiful by putting in sculptures or something like that. And with that, you will get another room that will buff your people's happiness. Because basically every beautiful room will make your people happy. But the other thing is also applying here. Every ugly room will also make your people in response unhappy, and these debuffs, they stack. So basically, the uglier your base is, and the more ugly rooms your base has, the more oppressive the moral debuffs grow here. And that's why flooring practically every room where your people are working at a daily basis and keeping your base clean are very, very vital endeavors, because, you know, you will need that. You will definitely need that. Without cleanliness to keep the ugliness low, and without flooring and some decorations, your rooms will always stay quite ugly. There's another trick that you can use, and that's furniture like these. A dresser has a base beauty. The base beauty has been amplified by quality. And of course, you can amplify the beauty of these things also by the material you use. For example, a marble dresser is more beautiful than a wooden dresser, because marble multiplies the beauty rating per se and actually adds another point of beauty, because, you know, marble, beautiful. So that's a couple of things that you can do to make your people less often break down. It's really a lot about the rooms you provide them to keep them safe and happy, and also a lot about decorations. That's why these things can be very, very important at any stage of the game. So This is, of course, another double-edged sword. As you can see here, I'm doing most of my things now with low-quality materials, aka wood. And that also means that I won't be capable of defending these rooms quite well. Let's put it into such words from the elements. So basically, one lightning strike is all it takes to put me into misery here. And when I say misery, I mean really catastrophe. Wooden buildings, they not only catch fire extremely quickly because, you know, flammability 100%, they also burn down really quickly because they don't have too many HP. So using wood is, in general, a strategy to get your stuff done real quickly, but at the same time, it will also make your base very, 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 very vulnerable to attacks from the elements, if you want to say so. Okay, so my personal recommendation here would be keep your rooms as good furnished as possible, but don't stress yourself out too hard early on. Survival is always more important. It goes like survival, and then you should go and beautify this place, not the other way around, because this would not exactly work out good. Another thing that's really, I already mentioned it, but I want to emphasize it again. People that clean your base are extremely, extremely important, because dirt is among the most powerful ugly makers in this room. Like, for example, take this room here. This is a awful room right now. Watch me clean that dirt. And now it's dull room. So that's how friggin' impactful bad dirt can be. That's how horrible the impact of that can be for you. So this room is now also awful. Let's prioritize cleaning. And yeah, like I mentioned, keeping rooms clean without mods is a real pain and only doable with a high priority on cleaning jobs in general. Okay, but as I wanted to point out here, furniture, the side table and the dresser really add up beauty here as well. So that's always a good opportunity to add beauty if you want to add it quickly. Another good thing that I like to mention is that you can create sculptures out of wood as well. Wood is a very good material due to several reasons. First off, it's available. On most maps, wood is super easily available. And the other thing is, wood also is quickly produced. The amount of work units on a small sculpture is always 300. But wood has the innate intrinsic ability or intrinsic quality that it either speeds even up the process, so it decreases the total amount of work units, or it at least doesn't increase them like stone, for example, does. Stone adds a multiplier to the needed amount of work. So stuff out of stone tends to be more resilient and all, but it's also a lot more work to create stuff out of that. So as you can see here now, this dining room is now at least at a decent rating. And a wooden table of poor quality doesn't provide any beauty, but one of excellent quality actually does. So the average quality of your place is also very, very impactful. Another thing that you can work with if you want to provide mood bonuses in general for your colony. Here goes. First off, psychoid brewing. Psychite tea is excellent. Psychite tea does provide an addiction at some point, but it does also make your people happy to some degree. It's a recreational thing, so it also entertains your people recreational wise. And also it does add in some bonuses here. So altogether, really good thing. The other option would be beer, also addictive and harmful, also bad for your animals. And last method that I like to use is smoke leaf. Smoke leaf, though, is even more of a double-edged sword. It might not have the addiction downside, but it decreases consciousness of your people by 30%, which means altogether they will work 30% slower. Pretty big debuff. Another thing which is really, really cool to beauty up your rooms and very low effort is a plant pot. Check it out. So we're going to drop a plant pot here. Only 20 timber, as you might have noticed. And now we're just planting a daylily in there. Let's see, I don't know who was busy with that job. Plants. That was pie. Okay. Why can't I manually do that? Ah, that's seasonal temperature. So here's another thing. And when you have trouble with temperatures, a campfire raises the temperature really good and has really no downsides whatsoever. Another option, of course, coolers, or the other, well, when it's too hot, or heaters when you want to have it warmer. A campfire is a pretty nifty solution if you have no electricity available and you want to warm up your rooms. Also, campfires are not ugly. They're neutral in terms of beauty, and that's just beautiful. And now you see there's temperature's high enough now. And let's do this. And now this is a plus 18 on beauty, just by investing 20 lumber. I think this is one of the even more powerful options to beauty up your place. So these things, well, now we have a slightly impressive room. These things altogether help you managing your colony's beauty. There are, of course, many things to work with. The larger the room, the more wealth in a room, that's what I haven't mentioned yet, so wealth and the size of the room are also influencing the beauty of a room positively. So just adding a lot of room is also a way of getting a neat quality. As you see here, average size 51, rather tight 26. So this is also a little trick that you can use. But the larger the room, the more material necessary, flooring wise, the more furniture necessary, or well, fits in, and the more cleaning necessary, because more tiles. It's not that easy. It's really not that easy to summarize it. And there's another thing that I want to emphasize here. It might be that you can beauty up your colony with quite easy methods, but there's one downside. Raiders get attracted by two things: wealth and beauty. So the more beautiful your place is, the more raiders will attack you. That's also a reason why I delay the luxury of my colonies, so recreational rooms, fancy dining rooms, and such things, a little bit harder, because I don't want my colonies to be overrun by enemies that easily. But overall, it's really worth it. And if you were wondering, these planting pots, they are worth the effort everywhere. You should put them wherever you want to create beauty. It's a nice way of creating beauty with low investment, because you might have noticed a statue takes way longer to create. Of course, a statue can also be sold and has a higher beauty rating, and so on and so forth. But these little things here, look at that. Clean out that room one more time. Let's see, slightly impressive. Is it really slightly impressive? Yeah. So this room is now, the rec room is now slightly impressive without any effort in terms of art or something like that. If we would now drop a piece of art in there, let's wait until that thing's done, it would be even more than that. So here we go. Marble sculpture, 68. And there's really not much cap in that regard. It's just like the more beautiful the room is, the larger the mood bonus gets. So I think it's there's dirt in here again, isn't it? Yeah. Well, usually I run mods that give you just the opportunity to clean this room, but now somewhat impressive. So you see, it scales up. And yeah, that's how you manage to keep your people happier in general. Because yeah, now let's look at Emmanuel at the end of this. So he might be still unhappy, but the impressiveness of the bedroom and the dining room did two things. They almost neutralized his pessimist trait. And this now goes on, this list goes on for all manner of different things. These rooms, these room bonuses, they can apply everywhere. And, well, that's also another reason why it's good to have specialized rooms. If this would not be a bedroom, but a workshop, for example, your people could also benefit from a decent workshop room bonus, and so on. So there's really a lot of things that you can do. The more beautiful, the better. And yeah, I mentioned drugs. Use those carefully, but drugs can also be a interesting way of introducing luxury to your colony, because, you know, addictions are only a problem if you don't have any drugs anymore. So if you can provide a steady supply for your people, it's literally no problem. Of course, these methods that I have introduced in this episode can be amplified by putting in carpets with higher quality, using floors out of, here for example, the fine tiles. They have an innate beauty of 3, or sandstone tiles have an innate beauty of 1, I think. This wood floor doesn't even have an innate beauty. It just negates the innate ugliness of dirty tiles inside a room. You can see here, -3. So there are options, lots of them. The more you realize of them, the more happy your people grow, and the less mental breakdowns you have to suffer through in general. Of course, this also is a thing of the traits of the people. Like Emmanuel would be a lot easier to be kept happy if his traits wouldn't be like that. For example, as a body modder that he is, we could actually just mod his. We could just get some prosthetics for him, and this would actually make him happy. Anywho, my friends, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly did a lot, and I hope that you found that helpful. Thanks to the people in the comment section, and really, I am very, very grateful for all the new input you gave me. This episode actually was made because of comments, so thanks for that. And if there are any other deeper questions or stuff like that, ask away. I'm just going to try and do my best to create yet another episode featuring these topics. So, comments go down there. Questions, please, or any additions to that strategy. If you think I have totally missed out something important, add it in. I'm grateful. Also, leave a thumbs up on that video to make it more visible to everybody else. And last but not least, check out my channel. There's daily videos happening there. All you need to do is to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and you won't miss anything in the future. See you guys the next time. Bye-bye.